You're listening to Chillworthy.
A podcast where two best friends discuss mysteries, murders, and anything in between for your enjoyment.
So if you're ready to hear some chilling and unsettling cases, you're in the right place. Happy listening. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Chillworthy with Brent and Talia.
Hi, everybody.
So this is episode 1 of season 4, if everyone can believe it. It's difficult for me to believe.
Here we are.
So, we're not even taking a very long break. It's only been a week between seasons. So,
Did we used
which
to take
means,
breaks?
yes.
Oh.
Anyway, we can start with the media portion, as always. Now, before we go into the long, drawn-out book part of this, I did introduce Talia to a movie that I've been wanting her to watch for quite a long time. It came out in the early 2000s called The Descent, and we watched that this week, so I'll let her tell you her thoughts on it.
So Brent prepared me that it was, super scary, something about pretty much like a group of women. I don't even know if you told me that they are on a trip, but I remember you saying something about they are, they're in a cave, whatever. So then, so it starts. I felt like to begin, it was sort of shaky / shoddy camera work or whatever you say. It wasn't super clear. It was shaky. I felt like it was not a home movie exactly. And I don't think they were trying to go for this. I think it was just it reminded me of an early 90s movie, even though it was early 2000s. And, comforting in that way of a nostalgic kind of vibe. So, they're out in the woods. Well, actually, first off, this horribly tragic thing happens that I will not give away, but it was awful and you did not prepare me for it, which I'm happy you didn't. But goodness gracious, that really sets the tone there. Then this group of women are on a trip, and I said to him throughout the movie, it just felt like it was just not a horror, it was a psychological thriller kind of movie. Not even a psychological thriller, but there were unsettling things happening to them, but they were nature related. So I said at one point to him, this doesn't feel like a horror movie. Is this just unfortunate things happen to them, or there is an entity down there with them in this cave? And he wouldn't say. My socks were knocked off for sure. And it was definitely I could handle it. It was insanely scary and very gruesome and gory, but I could handle it. I think I did a good job during. But I thought that movie was excellent.
And you paid attention.
Yes.
Which was
God.
nice.
I didn't fall asleep. I was very sucked in, and it was startling. I mean, it was super startling, but I think, especially for its time with how old that movie is, I think they did a really good job with, I don't want to give anything away, but just with how things were going on, what was happening down there. I think they did that justice. And then you said there's a Descent 2.
Right.
2 or 3.
Just 2.
Right. We watched Jaws recently. Oh my God, did you see my shirt Erica got for me?
I see it.
How freaking cute. And I don't know if you probably didn't notice, but the town, it's not Amity. It's where Erica was on vacation, and that town has their stuff on this Jaws shirt as if Jaws happened in that beach town. Isn't that crazy? I think it's just such a nice, subtle touch. But speaking of that, so we watched Jaws the other night. Lovely, 'tis the season. And then I put it on the other day, but didn't finish it. Kind of as a comforting background situation. And I think I decided I'm going to start doing that this summer. I'm just going to put it on when I can't think of what I want on. I'm just going to put Jaws on. Call it a day.
I wish you well.
Right, thank you. Thank you. Okay, go ahead.
So the one book that I listened to this week was called The Night Parade.
Oh.
By Ronald Malfi.
That's a nice title.
Yeah. The little 3-sentence blurb about it says, first the birds disappeared, then the insects took over, then the madness began.
Like a plague?
Not really. There was just like, it was like a pandemic where like people were being affected like with like major mental illness where they were becoming like unhinged, and then they would, they would start dying, and a father and his daughter were like kind of on the run. Some parts of the country were a lot more wild, like, and lawless than others. It was just kind of like where you ended up and where you were driving through and blah, blah, blah. I mean, it wasn't a bad book, but like, I really didn't give a damn. Like, by the end, I was just like, when are we done?
Was it a long one?
Yeah, I mean, it was normal.
Yeah.
So that's what I have to say about it. I don't know what the birds had to do with anything. Yeah, the birds disappeared. It never said, unless I missed it completely, it never said why.
I just started. I mean, I'm literally 8%. It's so early on, but it's called The Shark House by Sarah Ackerman. This is one of the shark books I wanted to read. The main character, I think this is so stinking cutie. Her name is Minnow Gray. Like a fish. How freaking cutie is that?
How about it?
So basically, there's been
Wasn't that the name of the boat
What is it?
in Jaws? Wasn't it the minnow?
No.
Oh, that's
Urca.
freaking Gilligan's Island.
Is that what the name of their boat is?
The
name-
SS Minnow.
Oh, God, I forgot all about that show. That's a cutie show.
That's cute.
Yeah. Hokey, but cute.
Certainly hokey, yes.
Supposed to be. You know who was always a grump? What was his name? Skipper? The Skipper?
Very much.
Very grumpy. So Minnow Gray travels to Hawaii, where I feel like she's originally from, but I might be making that up. But this is supposed to be like 1998, which I love the sound of that. And she is she's a biologist, but she's like known for being a shark whisperer.
Wow.
Allegedly. Sounds like a dream come true. And there's been a series of shark attacks. It leaves the community on edge. So she is like diving in, literally and figuratively, trying to figure out what has happened. So I just started that. Oh, I also started The Rabbit Hutch. It did not get great reviews, but I've had this. I think I talked about this last time.
Yep.
Okay. Not very far. Anyway,
Yeah.
Since we met, I did finish You Shouldn't Have Come Here. I said about The Boy in the Lake. Did I finish that last time we met, or did I finish it that night? And how I only gave it 2 stars.
I was going to say, yeah, you rated it. You
Okay,
said
good.
it wasn't good.
Right.
You said what you said.
Right. So for You Shouldn't Have Come Here, that one is by Geneva Rose. I gave it 3 stars. This is the one where I read another book by her like 2 years ago called Home is Where the Bodies Are. I really, really liked that book. I gave it 4 stars. This one, You Shouldn't Have Come Here, it really kept my attention. It was a good mystery, but it was getting to the point where I don't know, man. I just kept thinking, like, does this make sense? Like, this just doesn't seem real. It was like or realistic, I should say. It was a little redundant. It was fine. I like her writing still, but the concept I thought was like a little off. I don't know. It was fine.
So be it.
Nothing like her first one. But basically, I forget if I talked about it. So she's like staying in this Airbnb in Wyoming, and this man, Calvin, owns it, but like she's staying with him in the house. Like his Airbnb is like this big farmhouse in Wyoming. You stay in a bedroom in his house. He's also going to be staying there. It's just weird, but he like falls for her very quickly. And I mean, I'm talking like day 2 and maybe day 3. And then there's like weird people in the little town that she's meeting who aren't particularly friendly to her. He has a lot of sort of gaps in his past that don't totally make sense. It sounds like a lot of people have like passed away around him. He makes references that like the ranch is like not literally haunted, but that there's kind of like this black cloud following him in life. I mean, it sounds beautiful, like just the land and everything, but it just
Sounds it.
Yeah. I don't know. It was fine.
All right. Yeah. Well, Talia has the case today, so I'm going to turn it over to her.
So this is the case of Bernadette Vander Meer. Early on August 22nd, 2006, a married couple began climbing, a particular trail. So the couple are David and Bernadette Vander Meer. They traveled from their home in Las Vegas to Zion National Park. And the ultimate destination there was Angel's Landing. And Zion National Park is in Utah.
Uh-huh.
So they were going to celebrate their 10th anniversary. That's why they planned this little getaway. And
sounds nice.
All right. So Angel's Landing is like a sandstone formation, and it's famous for its panoramic views. But, you know, there's like a ton of cliffs happening. I want to show you what it looks like. Can you see these? So some of the drops exceed 1,000 feet. See these chains? The chains are like meant to hold on to it.
So yeah.
So it's very narrow. Like the ridges are very
treacherous.
narrow. Yeah, exactly. According to... So as treacherous, though, as it is, like the views are gorgeous. Like that's what's drawing people to this place.
Uh-huh.
So according to David, the plan was to reach the summit in time to be able to photograph the sunrise, which obviously means they're traveling in the freaking dark.
Yeah.
Trying to get up there. I mean, wild. David tells investigators that he just briefly turned his back. Just wanted to move their backpacks. Okay, David. He hears Bernadette scream, turns around, discovers she's gone, and she is lying at the bottom of the mountain. So authorities initially concluded that Bernadette had suffered a terrible hiking accident. Meanwhile, their friends and family weren't quite feeling solid about that. I think I said their family and friends. I meant to say hers.
Yeah.
Okay. So, you know, investigators end up uncovering just some things from the past, like supposed years of infidelity on David's part. A situation with a teenage member of a church that he was a pastor at. There was life insurance policy situations coming up, which we'll get into. But for almost 2 decades from when this happened, nobody was charged with anything. It was just this terrible accident that Bernadette encountered. So I think that's all I'm going to say for now, because I don't.
Excuse me?
I don't want to give this end part.
You were done.
No. All right.
Gonna say, well, we've hit the 15-minute mark. So welcome to season 4, everyone.
Bye-bye. So Zion National Park, we're going to go back to the place.
Fine.
So this is, like I said, in Utah. So it's southwestern Utah, which is near the Arizona and Nevada borders. The closest gateway community is called Springdale. I think that sounds beautiful.
It does sound nice. A gateway drug.
So that's a very small town surrounded by massive sandstone cliffs. Springdale itself has a very small population of like permanent residents.
Okay.
Millions of tourists pass through
seasonal
this area
every like beach town
year. Right, exactly.
Yeah.
So Zion Canyon was carved through layers of sandstone by the Virgin River, which is insane when you think about it. Its cliffs rise thousands of feet above the canyon floor. And then, like I said, that then created narrow ridges, really steep cliffs. It's just insane heights. So one of the park's most recognizable formations is this Angel's Landing where they were trying to go. So that particular summit stands 5,790 feet above sea level. A hike around Angel's Landing or up Angel's Landing, whatever you would say, is about 5.5 miles round trip and involves about 1,500 feet approximately of elevation gang. There are gangs up there. The National Park Service describes it as being super steep. Well, they didn't say super steep. They said steep. And physically challenging.
Thank you for that clarification. Yes.
Yes. Well, they spoke more professionally in their statement. And that normally takes hikers around 4 hours to complete, just the Angel's Landing part.
Okay.
So the first portion of that follows the West Rim Trail, and that climbs around the canyon floor. Oh my God, listen to this. So I think it's so freaking cutie. All right. So hikers eventually reach a series of tight switchbacks, and they're known as Walter's Wiggles. Jesus.
Wow.
I know. And then after that is called Scout Lookout, which reminds me, of course, of To Kill a Mockingbird. So from there, the trail changes like pretty dramatically. So the final section follows like a very narrow passageway,
Okay.
I guess. So like in some of these spots, hikers only have a few feet of rock beneath them, and then on either side of them are these enormous drops. So basically like where those chains are that I showed you,
Right.
you know. So these chains were installed along certain portions of the hike so hikers can steady themselves if they need to, you know, grab onto something. This is one of those areas though, like you can't just go there and decide willy-nilly, like you have to obtain a permit.
Okay.
So now, though, back when David and Bernadette went on this, permits did not exist. Like that, the system of having to get one,
Yeah.
that was not happening in 2006. So it's certainly possible, like between the height, the elevations, exposed rock, you know, up that high, weather conditions can change abruptly. Darkness that they were experiencing because of how early that they started.
Right.
Sometimes there can be loose footing with rocks.
Loosey-goosey.
You know, lack of like guardrails or any sort of like barrier that would truly keep them safe. I mean, yes, those
Chains.
Well, yeah, I was going to say, yes, the chains exist, but I'm not so sure how stable Mabel I would feel like, oh, they have the chains though. We're good. Like, yes, thank you. There's something to grab onto. But
You're welcome.
You can easily slip under those things, you know,
Of
sweaty
course.
palms, butterfingers. Someone pushing you. Okay. So I'm saying all of that because it is entirely possible to fall and die on Angel's Landing.
Yes, thank you. Yes.
Right. Like it based off of the environment, fine. Maybe
So you're telling me there's a chance?
maybe somebody wouldn't quite think twice about hearing a story like that. Investigators eventually revisited the specific location where Bernadette did fall. And the investigators did feel that an accidental fall from this particular spot they did find to be unusual. They also kind of dove deeper into David's description of the lighting and the sunrise conditions. Like, did they truly match what would have been visible to them at that time of day? That question became especially important because, according to David, he's claiming that the whole point of this was for the sunrise picture. They needed to get the sunrise picture. Meanwhile, the timeline of this, like, Bernadette fell in the early morning darkness. Like, we weren't approaching sunrise yet. Mm-hmm. So something was a little funny there. So I wanted to get into a little bit about Bernadette, like as a person. So she was born on November 16th, 1977 in Phoenix, Arizona. Her parents were Richard and Laura Gudenkoff. And she had a
Sounds good
sister
to me.
named... What?
Sounds good to me.
Yeah. She also had a sister, Vanessa. So by 2006, when this occurred, she was living in Las Vegas and she was working at the New York Hotel and Casino. So friends and relatives described her as warm and devoted, deeply religious. She loved nature, family, and performing. She was a singer. Her obituary described her as expressing herself through music and worship, and who gave credit to her faith and everything that she did in her life. She was also a worship leader at New Song Christian Church.
New song.
Her husband and brother-in-law were pastors within this same religious community. You know,
Wait, her husband. Oh, so
And
so two
brother-in-law.
brothers.
yes,
Yeah.
correct. So, you know, her faith was a huge part of her life.
Well, yeah, there's a lot going on over there.
Between the musical side to her marriage, you know, her friendships within the church, like socially, like this was a huge piece of her.
All encompassing,
Right.
one might say.
Right.
All that in Sin City.
I know. I thought the same thing, in fact.
Most bizarre.
Right. Reminds me of Sister Act.
Me too.
Absolutely. God, good movies, both of them. And
Have you
know
ever
it.
been to Las Vegas?
Hell no. Have you?
No, and it's on the surface, it's not something that appeals to me. But the more I think about it, like, yeah, I'm not a gambler, but there must be so many things to do there. Not necessarily as like gambling is what I'm saying, but like
Shows,
attractions, just like the strip. Mm-hmm. I don't know.
I've
Something about it does appeal to me more and more. Like, what the hell? Anyway.
Yeah. I have never felt pulled to see it. I like the area of like the world that it's in, or the country, same thing, I guess.
Indeed.
Right. So for that reason, but not like Las Vegas specific, but we were just talking about that the other day because we, as you know, tried to like, our goal is to hit every state and like go on a little trip and whatever and see, I was going to say the world, but the country. And the Las Vegas Aces WNBA team, they're obviously, I know,
Shit.
not your favorite topic, but we were saying like if we go there, we could like have that be part of the trip to see one of their games. Oof. And that excites me.
Yikes. Okay, well, good.
All right.
Anyway, okay, so she's very religious. It's all encompassing.
Right. So friends commented like she was someone who always wanted to perform, and she even like dreamt about music. Like her dreams usually had some sort of like musical connection, which I think is so fascinating. You know, we all dream so differently, horrifying things, magical things. I feel like you're always doing these like, I don't know if action adventure-y makes sense to say. I don't know. Yours is pretty...
Some of them are very in-depth.
Right.
And then I wake up sweating. So well, it's not pleasant.
They keep you on the edge of your seat.
Yeah.
So, you know, on the surface, Bernadette and David seem to be a lovely young Christian couple building life together. They owned a house, participated at church differently, but like in multiple ways, each of them, you know, individually, and then approaching their 10th wedding anniversary.
Yes.
Witness accounts later provided to investigators suggested that Bernadette had begun. She began to suspect something wasn't quite right with her marriage / David.
Okay.
So at the time of her death, David was 29. He worked in, you know, the church ministry world, and he was involved with, I don't want to say the children. I mean, they were children, but...
The youth.
Correct. He was a youth pastor.
Right.
So this position gave him one of, you know, authority and trust, particularly with teenagers and their families.
As it would.
Right. So his role in the church is what later kind of played
Pay to play.
Played a huge part in the investigation becoming reopened. So according to documents, when David was eventually charged, one girl from the church first encountered David during one of the youth activities that was going on when she was 14. Investigators referred to her only by SH, so her identity could be protected. So she told investigators that David began giving her special attention. She received gifts from him. This included physical affection. And there was just a gradual breakdown of boundaries that you would think would exist between a youth pastor and a teenager, you know, at the church. Yeah. Or any teenager for that matter.
Actually, yeah.
Right. So according to her account, their relationship began to be sexual. In 2002, she was 16 years old and he was 25. He was also married to Bernadette at that time.
Yes.
Right. David was never charged with a crime involving sexual abuse or misconduct toward a minor, but they became a significant part of the probable cause case, like presented by prosecutors in connection with Bernadette's death. This girl described the relationship with David as ongoing for quite a while and very secretive. He purchased a separate phone for her so they could communicate without Bernadette knowing about it. Mm-hmm. And then investigators later corroborated that with the telephone records that they were able to access. According to this girl, he also arranged private meetings with her. In one very disturbing allegation, the girl says that Bernadette arrived at the church while David and she were together. And Bernadette, I think, absolutely had a clue something was up. She, according to this girl, was pounding on the door, like trying to get inside, knew David was in there. So the girl says that David made her speak to Bernadette through the door and say, like, oh, no, David's not in here, but didn't let Bernadette in. Weird shit, man. And to put her in that position.
Of course.
So according to the girl, David eventually tells her that, like, hey, look, the only way we can really be together in life is if Bernadette is no longer alive. So that statement.
It's a major statement.
Right. That would become one of the most serious pieces of evidence against him. So no, it doesn't prove that he committed the murder, but interesting that his mind would go there and that he actually verbalized that to somebody.
Right.
No less the person who he's having an affair with.
Right.
Right. Financial circumstances of the Vander Meer marriage also attracted investigators' attention. Bernadette earned money through her job at New York Hotel and Casino, but David controlled their finances as a couple. Back to this girl, S.H., she alleged that David spent a lot of money on her. He paid her rent, got her gifts, got her the secret phone, like I mentioned. And I don't know how David pulled this off, but they would go on trips together. He paid for that. So after she turned 18, he was encouraging her to leave her family's home and to live with another woman from church. And he was happy to pay for that rent for over a year.
Okay.
So in 2005, David applies for insurance policies covering both himself and Bernadette. The policies were initially worth $150,000 each. In November of 2005, the coverage was increased by approximately $400,000 per person, bringing each policy to roughly $550,000. And that increase occurred less than a year before Bernadette died. I can't even like bring myself to say maybe that was a coincidence. Like you just like, why would you increase it that much and so close to her death? I don't know, man. The timing and size of this increase became significant when you consider the other factors of what was going on here. Like he's having an affair. He makes the comment about we can't move on in life unless Bernadette bites the dust. And then these like unusual circumstances of her fall. After Bernadette died and her death was ruled accidental, he filed an insurance claim. And in July of 2007, he received approximately $567,000 and $567,000. What the hell? How do I say this number? $567,439. Over $500,000
That
he
sounds
received.
$567,000.
$1,000, right? $567,439.
That sounds great to me.
So prosecutors later alleged that he used this money to live extravagantly. He purchased multiple vehicles. He was going on trips and just seemed to have a lot of expenses. So a coworker of Bernadette's, she raised concerns with authorities about his financial behavior. She said she worked with Bernadette for 6 years and only met David once, and it was very brief. He did not attend any workplace functions or socialize with any of her friends. This coworker recalled that after the couple sold their condo, he purchased a Cadillac SUV worth approximately $50,000. And then he said it was stolen and the loan that he had on it was paid through insurance. So again, none of this proves murder, but he's up to some shady stuff. He does not sound like he's on the up and up. So here we are on the anniversary trip. So they travel in August 2006 from Las Vegas to Zion National Park in Utah to celebrate their 10th wedding anniversary. According to reports later on, interviews with Bernadette's family, he initially discussed bringing that girl on the trip.
Gee.
Like he's going to take this woman on the trip that he's having a sexual relationship with on the anniversary vacation with, like, how would that have gone? I mean, how would it have gone? But how do you even like approach?
I have no idea.
I don't know, man. So when that fell through, that then this girl was not coming anymore, Bernadette told her mother she was so excited to finally be able to spend like to spend private time with David, because I guess there really wasn't a lot of that. So the girl told investigators that she ended her relationship with David immediately before Bernadette and David left for this trip. Some reports say that it was the night before they departed. Others said it was 2 days before Bernadette died. So I'm not sure. And even though there's like that timeline discrepancy, the sort of like it shows that relationship between David and that girl was like something was going on, that they were in turmoil right before Bernadette went on this trip with him, you know? So it appears like prosecutors' theory was like David was under pressure. Like he was feeling like, okay, Bernadette is suspicious of him. He's had this relationship going for years with this teenage girl who's now an adult, but she's pulling away. She's trying to end things. And according to David, they started this hike at 4:20 in the morning. At that hour, though, the canyon would have been completely dark. So this particular trail climbs steadily, beginning on the canyon floor, obviously going up. Typically, like I said earlier, you would need 4 hours to do this hike. Obviously, experienced hikers may achieve that quicker, but Bernadette and David, like, yes, they were physically active, but they weren't experts, you know, by any means. Mm-hmm. And then the goal was supposedly to get to the top for these sunrise photographs. So they carried camera equipment up and their backpacks. After reaching the summit, Bernadette goes over the edge. David is the only witness. He told investigators he positioned Bernadette for this photograph. He turned away to attend to the backpacks, mm-hmm. and he wanted to remove something that would have obstructed the picture. Head is turned. Bernadette screams. He looks. She's nowhere to be seen.
Right.
So in one account, he heard her scream as she fell. In another, he told youth group members about what happened. They told investigators that David told them that he turned for something out of this bag. Then he heard the scream. And there were just differences in what he's telling various people, like his story. There were just different little details that weren't the same, you know?
Like Judge Judy says, if you tell the truth, you don't have to have a good memory.
Right. So after David realizes Bernadette fell, he reportedly leaves immediately to find someone with a functioning cell phone signal. So emergency authorities are contacted. They search, and Bernadette's body is found at the base of Angel's Landing. So she fell between 1,000 and 1,200 feet. There is no realistic possibility she could have survived that fall where it occurred. So she died from her injuries. She was 28 years old. Investigators question him. He's maintaining he didn't see her fall. He only heard her scream. Somehow, infidelity came up in the interview, and David reported that he and Bernadette were both faithful to each other. There were no issues with fidelity.
Well, there you have it then.
I suppose, yes. So that statement obviously conflicts with accounts from SH when she starts to come forward, other youth group members, and individuals who claimed David absolutely had been unfaithful to Bernadette for years. Investigators then searched the couple's hotel room. They found no clear evidence of violence. Items recovered from Bernadette's body showed no signs of a struggle. You know, there was a pretty major absence of evidence in that way. If she had been shoved from behind, there may be no signs of a struggle, though, or any sort of defensive wounds, you know? And same thing, if she had accidentally lost her footing, investigators would have found the same thing, no struggle, no bruising, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then here we are, no surviving witness besides him. So ultimately, her death was ruled an accident, and the case was closed. Because of that decision and that case being closed, he could pursue the life insurance claim, which he obviously did, and then that was paid out the following year. So the family, I should be specific, Bernadette's family did not completely accept this explanation, and even though the officials closed the case, it did not sit well with them. So Bernadette's father believed she was pretty experienced as a hiker. Again, not an expert, but not totally clueless out there either. Right. And she was cautious. The idea that she had simply just went back too far, didn't realize what was happening behind her, slipped, did not sit comfortably for him. And Bernadette's mother also became suspicious of how David was acting following her death. That girl, SH, she was physically positioned close to David during Bernadette's memorial service. And Bernadette's family felt that was wildly inappropriate and just also very obvious, like not discreet at all. So the memorial itself took place on August 28th, 2006 at Cornerstone Christian Fellowship in Las Vegas. So SH tells investigators that she and David resumed their sexual relationship 2 or 3, I'm serious, months after Bernadette dies. David continues to work in the church ministry. However, in 2008, he was fired from his youth pastor position after allegations that he provided alcohol to underage members of the youth group and allowed inappropriate parties and gambling activities at his house. What a pig. Ugh. David and SH.
David and Shh.
Oh my God, yes. They marry in 2008, allegedly.
Well, he was committed.
Well, he needed health insurance benefits, and he got them through her.
He does a lot of weird things around insurance. Now that you say this, car insurance, life insurance, health insurance. Very insurance motivated.
I should have said this was a legal marriage, but they did not tell anyone that they did it.
All right.
They later held a public wedding, acting as though that was when they actually got married in 2010. But this marriage ended in divorce in 2014.
Better than death.
I was thinking the exact same thing, man.
She got off easy in that case.
Better. Oof.
Yes.
Yes, absolutely. So she tells investigators that relationship was completely unstable, that he was super emotionally distant from her, and that he just continued on with the infidelity, which of course he did. What a surprise.
Well, that's because she became the new Bernadette.
Yes, exactly.
Hey-o.
In the years after Bernadette's death, he reportedly married other women as well, not just shh. So rumors and suspicions just continue to follow him.
The rumor mill.
Yeah. You know, these former youth group members are now adults. They're viewing their experiences from their adolescent differently now. Behavior that might have once been like minimized as, oh, you know, our pastor's just super friendly.
He's a cool youth pastor.
We're always a pig. So now they're kind of recognizing like the grooming that was going on, and like he was violating boundaries with them, and he was manipulative. And one former church leader, Barry Diamond, tells authorities that he suspected David was responsible for Bernadette's death. And he had, God love Barry Diamond, he attempted to raise concerns about this with investigators for years. However, no prosecution occurs.
Well.
So.
Good for Barry for trying.
Right. The first major breakthrough comes in April of 2022. Law enforcement receives information from a former youth group member alleging that David had used, you know, his role of just being this trespasser. Trespass. A trusted youth pester to groom the teenagers at the church. Investigators started to interview these individuals that were connected to the youth ministry at the time, and this included So she describes this relationship beginning when she was a teenager. She talks about the gifts, the secret phone, how they start having sex, the statement that he makes about, we can't do this if Bernadette remains alive. She says about how she ended the relationship right before they left on the trip. You know, by 2022, investigators have reason to consider, like, this trip, you know, David talking about, like, his wife's death as, like, a potential solution for his, you know, little love triangle crisis that he found himself to be in. Is that what was actually going on? Was this truly like an innocent fall off the cliff? Still, though, the investigation did not immediately result in charges against David. It just did not seem like a prosecutor would be able to prove that Bernadette was killed and that it wasn't just a fall. In October of 2025, the Washington County Attorney's Office receives another tip. This one came again from Barry Diamond. So Barry tells investigators he does not think Bernadette died accidentally. He thinks David pushed her. So
right, he's made this known
well,
before.
he does it again.
I just assume at this point they're like, well, here's good old Barry.
Right. They probably thought he was a pain in the ass. Meanwhile, sweet Barry Diamond is a good man. He cracked the case.
Cracked it.
All right. So, I was going to say David, but I meant to say Barry.
Barry.
All right. Barry
Diamond.
and David. But we're talking about Barry. So Barry directs authorities toward some of these former youth group kids. Well, they're not kids now. Now they're adults.
Yes.
Okay.
That's how time works. Yes.
Yeah. So investigators reopen the case and they conduct a wider series of interviews. So several of these former youth group members describe David's behavior as inappropriate and that he had inappropriate relationships with several underage people. So some said that they were aware of his infidelity prior to Bernadette's death. Other people told police they long suspected David had been the one to kill her. So they again interviewed SH, examined her story in much greater detail to hopefully corroborate more details of the circumstances. Like I had said before, the telephone records supported her claim that he got this secret phone for her for them to talk. Investigators also revisited the financial evidence of the insurance policy increase and then the payout. They analyzed David's original version of the fall and then compared it with what he was later retelling. And they examined the sunrise. There was a big problem here. So his story
in discrepancies.
Right. Just centered on this freaking photography. So he's saying, they climbed this. They needed to photograph the sunrise. She fell while he's preparing the shot. So investigators review the supposed timing of the hike, the reported time of the fall, actual lighting conditions at these times. And they concluded that it was unlikely the sun had begun rising in the way David is describing. Like they would not have been set up to take this picture yet. So this did not necessarily disprove the photography explanation. A photographer might arrive early to get all set up in the darkness to wait for the sun. Hikers also commonly begin before dawn, specifically so they can be in position when that light starts to change. But just the potential problem was it was dark. It was just freaking dark out. So
it's one way to boil it down.
David's precise description of what he was doing and what he could see just was not consistent. So the absence of the daylight
made it dark.
It sort of like created another factor that was in David's favor. Like when he went up there with her, there's nobody around. Like it's sparse. Like, well, there were no witnesses to this. But
they didn't, I didn't, he didn't. I don't either.
So
what exactly are you saying? What? That's good for him? Because
it's good for
somebody
him.
Could have tripped in the dark.
No, yes, sometimes hikers like to get going.
Yes, you said this for the light to change,
Fine.
but it was freaking dark out there.
But more than likely, the fact that it wasn't even near sunrise time, like the sun was not going to be coming up anytime soon. He's full of shit. So because of that, he counted on there not being witnesses.
Okay,
there were no
right.
witnesses to this. It was sparse up there with people. The prosecutors are ready to take it to trial.
Yes, fine.
So they're maintaining the secret sexual relationship was going on with an underage girl. David's telling her that they can't be together unless Bernadette's dead. This pressure that's put on him with the relationship, the insurance policy money, different accounts that he's giving of the fall, and then the concerns about the sunrise timeline, different people coming forward with suspicions. David being the only one there with her. So the prosecution's theory was that David brought Bernadette there on purpose to a dangerous location that was isolated. They're in the dark. He pushed her from the summit knowing that her death could easily be mistaken as a hiking accident.
Mm-hmm.
Motives were financial gain and removing the obstacle of Bernadette so then David and SH could continue on. So, no video, no surveillance, no known eyewitness to this. If it was a push, were significant challenges that the prosecution was obviously going to face. There was no forensic evidence that survived that, well, not, I should say more so existed, that like there was no sign that Bernadette was assaulted prior to falling. And then these witness statements were obtained decades after all of this happened, which is not the best. So on June 22nd, 2026, nearly 20 years after Bernadette passes away.
Which is wild.
I know. David Vander Meer is arrested in Las Vegas by members of the United States Marshal Service. So the Washington County Attorney's Office charges him with murder and insurance fraud. He's now 49 years old. You know, this was like in Bernadette's family's eyes, like a major positive development.
Well, yeah.
So her parents receive a phone call from Utah investigators informing them that he's now been arrested and he's in custody. Bernadette's father commented that the family has been waiting for this day, and her mother described David's arrest as a form of vindication for her daughter.
Of course.
Well, you know, they also emphasize too, like his arrest does not like restore what they lost either, of course. I mean,
of course,
poor daughter.
Not. Right.
Right. David is placed inside the Clark County Detention Center while the legal system prepared to extradite him. You know, he is facing the possibility of spending the rest of his life in prison. Mm-hmm. His first court appearance in Nevada is scheduled for June 25th, but he does not appear for that.
Okay.
So David is placed in a single occupancy cell and he's held in protective custody. David did not express any threatening statements about himself or others while he was like not participating. They forced you to do it, but like while he went through his initial jail screening, he did not report feeling unsafe at all, or that he was going to be doing anything unsafe to himself or someone else.
Right.
So on the evening of June 24th, an officer reportedly checked David's cell and observed him sitting upright, and he was awake. Approximately 30 minutes later, at around 9:30 p.m., David was found face down and unresponsive. Officers began life-saving efforts. Emergency medical personnel transported him to University Medical Center, and David was pronounced dead at approximately 2:36 a.m. on June 25th, only hours before his scheduled court hearing. Police described his injuries as self-sustained. The precise nature of those injuries was redacted from the publicly described report. There was also a suicide note, and then there was like a handwritten will there. None of the details of either of these documents was released.
So like the note didn't say, yeah,
well,
you got me.
Possibly. It does. They wouldn't release it, but yes, they could have. I mean, I just feel like it's just interesting. It's just interesting to me. So his death obviously ended all criminal proceedings, and a deceased defendant cannot be prosecuted. So we're done here.
You don't say.
So, you know, this could be looked at. It could be interpreted differently, like what he did. So is it a final admission of guilt?
Do you think that's ever happened, though?
What?
Do you think it's ever been the case for a, I don't know, high-profile murder charge or something where someone dies, but then it's almost like just symbolically they still are found guilty, like for closure for the family or something? You ever think that's happened?
I don't think it has happened, but I could be wrong.
So could I. Well, actually, I couldn't because I didn't say it did, but you know what I'm saying.
Right.
I'm just wondering. Mm-hmm. I feel like that would give some type of, you know, just a mental or an emotional close to something where it's like, well, we almost got him, but hey, whoops.
I kind of feel like they couldn't. Like, I feel like the family, if they did that, could sue the police department or the prosecutor's office, like in a civil suit, because he still didn't go through a trial.
That's true.
So I'm thinking that would be a definite no-go. Like I said, you know, some could view this as like, this was the not last straw, but like this was the final sort of action of David admitting what he did.
I mean, it certainly doesn't bode well for, you know, him doing that. Doesn't look
No.
overly innocent. But I mean, one could argue he was just really then scared to go to jail for the rest of his life.
Exactly. Was it like fear, shame,
I mean, right.
hopelessness? Like, and just to like the public exposure, like even if he supposedly didn't do it, but like the anticipated incarceration, like he had never been in jail before, like not knowing what to expect there. Was he freaking out that he would never be believed while maintaining his innocence? Is that what it was? Or earlier, is this just sort of the final admission of guilt? And like I said, we don't know what the suicide note said, and I don't know if those details will ever come out, but, or like if it had gone to trial, what would the verdict have been? Like, would the jury,
Jurors. Right.
right, would
On
they,
the jury.
right, would the verdict have been in favor of him? Who the hell knows, man? But so, yeah, he died accused, but not convicted. Escaped that. So that's the case. But what's crazy, not crazy, but I had never heard of this case before. And the other day at work, it came up on like the news page thing. And I wasn't clear that he died. Like I'm reading this like, oh my God, this case is insane. Oh my gosh, wow. And then I don't know if it was like farther on in the article or it was a separate article. And then it was saying how, like I thought I was reading it wrong. Like I was so turned around and confused. And then I was like, oh my God, he just died. Like, holy shit. That's that.
Okay, well, very, very good job.
Thanks.
Sure.
Thanks.
Surely.
Yeah.
You know, may Bernadette rest in peace.
May Bernadette rest in peace, absolutely. And I hope she did not suffer when she passed away. I hope it was...
One would assume probably not, considering how high of a
good point
thing that was. But I don't know. I'm just saying,
Yeah.
from what you described, it seemed like quite the fall.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, all right. Well, thank you again.
Absolutely.
Thank you all for coming back for yet another season. So, you know, until we get to episode 2,
Stay safe.
and stay chill.
Bye, everybody.
Goodbye. You've just listened to Chillworthy. Thank you for joining us on this latest episode. While we strive to keep our discussions engaging and lighthearted, we also wanted to take a moment to acknowledge the real lives and events that are at the heart of these stories.
We try to approach each topic with a sense of curiosity and respect, fully aware of the impact these events have had on individuals and their loved ones. Our goal is to honor their memories by keeping their stories alive and shedding light on the mysteries that surround them.
If you enjoyed this episode, please remember to subscribe, rate, and leave a review, and don't forget to join us on the next episode of Chillworthy.